the third installment of Awakening Osiris. I almost feel like a weird mixture of the person who did the skeleton from Tales from the Crypt and Alfred Hitchcock, but then like a mixture of like Angela Lansbury in there. Anyways, the next chapter that I feel called to read. It's interesting. Chapter 40. Oh no, that's not 42. Well, maybe I'll read two of them. Chapter 38, In the Talons of the Hawk. 145. There's two chapters that have to do with hawks, so I might just read the second one. We'll see how long this first one is. I have not personally gone through all of this book, so it's interesting. This is Awakening Osiris, the Egyptian Book of the Dead by Normandy Ellis. Chapter 38, In the Talons of the Hawk. The snake will rise to heaven in the talons of the hawk. In their season 1,000 boats sail. Forever shadows and light clutch the world and the rivers flood. Men rise to walk full of themselves, inundating earth with life. Such is the way of existence, the empty filling and full emptying. In their season date palms grow. The earth covers you, and in your season you rise. From the blue egg was born dark and light. When you see the slaughterer, kiss him and fall down. His sword is swift. It brings you life. You shall die and rise as Osiris, born in the magic of sky. Suckled by the mother's teat, you will learn the nature of love. In your hands the slaughterer places the sword with which you must conquer darkness. You shall live not by faith but with certainty, not in sacrifice but in ecstasy, and know the coming and going of flowers, the passion of love, of loss and pain. In my hand I took the sword I was given, and I learned to use it. I severed the heads of the children of darkness and felt no pity for the fallen. I brought suffering and pain, but wicked men grieved and were changed. Blood ran through the fields. Wheat grew waist high. Green was the color of grace. Those who saw light and remained unchanged fell to the earth and became asses, into the water and became fish. Their names shine in heaven no longer, though they see Egypt's people pass through the house of heaven and walk earth's fields again. Though they watch boats sail on waters and lotuses float beneath stars, though they pray, their prayers are unanswered. Neither born again nor dying, they remain in silence, unchanged. Without soul or form, less than the air between us they are, nothing. Therefore, when I saw darkness in myself, I cut it from me and wept, for the pain was unbearable. Blind and mourning, I stumbled into the desert, scooping up the blue virtue of sky and setting it in my heart. Then my heart flew out and circled above like a hawk. It joined 1,000 birds circling, serpents writhing in their talons, and I wept. For without love or loss or pain, I would not have known this happiness. There is joy on earth and in heaven, joy unimaginable. In every blade of grass rises the strength of the sun. In every mortal shines the star of immortality. All things demand adoration and respect. In each child an old man lies coughing and dying, and in old men fresh children are singing. Though dead perhaps 1,000,000 years, each day I sail with the sun. On my lips the taste of frankincense hangs. The soles of my feet are perfumed with myrrh. Above the fields of malachite golden hawks fly, and in golden upon golden tablets the gods write. Let men sing loudly and cast incense in the fire. Let ducks be roasted. In this world the sun rises. The sky is unbound. Rains fall to take our thirst. We breathe beneath heaven and upon the earth in the presence of gods and goddesses. And the quiet that settles on our skin before dawn keeps company with those whose dreams are troubled. I think I'm going to keep reading because the next talk one is just a couple ahead. Oh, and there's a falcon one too. Okay, so this is chapter 39, Before Changing. Once the world was formless and empty with night until found by the light and filled. Under a moon both dark and bright, man grew half obscured, while olive branches bent toward the light and roots dug deep in clay darkness. We create ourselves in the forms we imagine. Years pass. We are what we have spoken. Where there is a road an old man walks thinking, bent under the weight of his soul, clinging like a child to his back. Ra spits his words into the dirt where they cover themselves and wait like seeds. The wheat will rise up singing. The old man walks in circles beneath the circling sun. He makes a journey for himself from mewling infant to old man to renewed God. The snake comes to take his heart, finding there the sun. Where there is sky, Ra goes sailing, and dead men rise to meet him, casting no shadow on the roads, but for their souls like thick clouds passing. All the gods are following as the Great One rolls around, one with the wind swallowing breezes. Somewhere on a patch of ground, a tired ox slavers in the wind, heat dripping from his tongue. The air is cool in the season of planting, and a man may be home in his body. In his house he eats and praises the meat between his teeth. The earth and men are a kind of truth. A beam of brightest sun falls like a word against the grave. A man has taken his boat for the afternoon of fishing. The dead dream quietly, counting their bones, turning their rags toward the city of death. Amentet, the beautiful. They will walk again. Chapter 40, Becoming the Swallow. In the dark marrow of my bones I have made myself light. I am the swallowing spinning at dawn, through whom light enters the sky, who flies formless above a world of forms, ringing across the horizon. We make of ourselves what we imagine. A command scorpion to lie still. Or I command scorpions to lie still. I open the east doors of heaven. Arrows fly quick as light. I am a swallow like no other, full of magic, a daughter of Ra. Among gods and goddesses I live on air perfumed by clove and temple fires. I am a crystal where dark shapes enter and fill with color. Sunlight filters through each feather. In the light I quiver and whirl, and I know what shadows my passing throws to the ground. It is morning in the noisy cities, on mountains where earth enters sky, in the cupped hands of beggars yawning on every street corner, and in the small dark mouth of a bird. Stretch out your hands filled with red barley, and I shall eat. Let me speak of all I have seen. All days are but one day lived on the island of flame. Ra rises up as a column of fire, and from him issues children bright and smoldering as metal, countless lights swirling in liquid darkness. His head throbs, then cracks like a blue speckled egg, and a flaming sun rolls out. His words like swallows fill the air, and like a fine dust morning settles on the eyelids of sleepers. Now is the day of reckoning, when years laid end to end are numbered, when travelers huddled about the night fire hear the story of every man. The doors of the past and future open. I must speak of it. I was like Horus, prince of the air, son of Osiris, grandchild of Ra, blind in one eye until the moon rose. I sail at dawn and pass between two worlds. To the sky I am a thing of bone and earth. To the earth I am partly sky. My face is the mirror. Within my eyes spins living fire. Dawn and dusk I am the swallowing, skimming, vagabond servant and God. Though born of air, he who is not the imagination to fly falls to earth and grovels with worms. But he who believes is lifted by belief and returns to air, to cool, sweet milk of his mother. I have lain at the feet of the world and felt its power pass through me. Dead, I stood naked before the judged, and I was pierced by truth. Down I fell and labored like a woman. I wept, I laughed, I was ashamed. I sang, and in time I was made new. I bring the story of light, how I climbed the ladder of heaven, how with my wings I brushed the edges of stars and flew straight to the heart of the universe. Look at me, at my eyes. All I've seen is captured there. Look on the world built by magic and known the hearts of its children. I have held my destiny in my two hands, and I am the shape I made. I have suffered and loved. I have walked through fire and did not burn. I have been blown by wind and did not fall. I've walked the long road and kept to my journey, though I met no other traveler. I have lost and found myself in every rock, field, and tree. I know what I am and what I imagine. I know shadow and light, and I have never been satisfied with shelter and bread when the great was left unattained. This I have done to enter death and turn from nothing toward life. I shall pass into heaven, even I shall pass like eternity, quietly in the fire and flesh. Chapter 41, Becoming the Falcon of Gold, which is such a synchronicity for me. I don't know if it is for anybody else, but that's so funny. I rise above the crescent moon to the seven stars, beyond the history of men, beyond numbers and words that bind us. From the earth I rise like a falcon of gold released from a blue egg. I fly above and below the great worlds. I take the shape of a young boy working. In my belly I carry the seeds that becomes me. Praise the corn that rots and the sedge that rises. Praise the emerald heart of earth. Praise the coming and going of creatures, the constancy of the world and the word. I come from light, and to light I return. My talons grasp the ring of colors, the gold beak of dawn and the blue eyes of day, the deep red blood of dusk. I rise. In truth, I burst on the world like an arrow flung from darkness. Sparks of fire from my forehead like burning stars streak the sky. I gather myself, thought and bone, and burst again into flight. I soar and know the God who speaks the voice of flame. I am one of the great ones sitting in a field of corn. I eat and I am nourished. I turn and offer, or in turn I offer myself the bread of air, the white spirit of fire. I am falcon of gold. I burn with a passion and lie still. I flare and smolder, live and die in a breath. I sail on gold wings that fan the blaze. I am consumed by fire. This is what I was born to live, to love, to know, to change and embrace the infinite. I shall not forget my becoming. Chapter 42, Becoming the Hawk Divine. Imagine the Ancient One speaking to you as if you were his dream. Old lips grown yellow and hard, dry as bone, his mouth a beak that crushes words like seeds after a long flight drops them to grow again in a field left untended. Imagine his eyes, amber orbs that search and catch upon the shallow breaths of a mouse stirred by restless dreams of corn. Hollow bones become swift wings, and in his dark, finely feathered skin you ride through all the lost days. Above blinding white cliffs you soar and find yourself amid rocks crumpled like paper, rocks sharp as knives, rocks heartbreakingly real as breasts. Blessed are the old ones. They shall die and soar above themselves, new men again, swift birds, strong oxen, gentle flowers nodding. The ways have been arranged that I might know my own passage. I have loved the light and followed it easily and with joy. And I struggle to learn how to lie with the darkness where all the wrong things happened for the right reasons. The ways have been arranged. I circle the head of dancing girls. My feathers tremble in their fans. I fly above the smoking kilns where brown bread was baked and clay vessels were made strong or shattered. I circle the houses where I laughed and wept, dreamed and made healthy children. Through me the past flows like blood. Vultures gobble the sin with the flesh. Let the devils who beat an old man with their fists lie in a grave of worms. Let bad debts be repaid by the blow of sticks. Let the sun that rode on my back light my face. Let the earth be pounded by dancing feet on slender ankles. Let the young white ram come to the river to drink and admire his new horns in the water. Let night fall with all the finality of death, and I shall see a single star. Though the crescent moon shall pass me like a slender knife, though it touch me, I shall live. Then, as men celebrate the coming light, I shall pass into darkness. I shall wander the night, stumbling and falling. I shall embrace the great nothing, a shadow so deep it encompasses all, unseen but felt in the hearts of men as the sorrow, the loss, the death. And I shall bless the void, for it prepares me, leaves me empty so that light may enter. In my weakness the dark shall cover the In my weakness the dark shall cover me with the red cloth of death, and the hungry leopard shall pass by as if I were less than shadow. I shall hide even as the gods hide between the veil of nothingness, listening. Though they hear men call in their troubles, they come not. Yet silent, beyond the veil their shining fingers move, weaving the cloth of destinies. Even great gods are bound by law not to interfere with a man's own becoming. Therefore, we die and lie alone, awaiting transformation. The gods care not if you rage and thrash your breasts. They hear not words, but thoughts. They speak not to ears. Be silent, then, and let them speak to the God within. Be quieter still, and let the will speak through you. O ancient one who names and dreams the ways, give me air alive. Grant me the revolution, the change, the great doubling back on itself. Let our heart's truth entwine like terror and tenderness. Awaken me with tender dreams, as if with your mouth against my ear your hot words entered me. Let me know the great change and the small ones, that I may see your hand on all things, the frog, the lotus, and me. May all the world envelop me, that I might know the conversation of wind or the willful flight of a bee, that I might become the song of earth and turn again to greening. Let me walk through the fields, sure of the ways that brush my thighs gentle as flowers. Let one song rise from the universe. Let the souls of all things tremble as the wind stirs blades of grass. I will sit in the midst of its blue wonder, as if that song were struck on my bone and sinew. Let the ground beneath me shake. Let the gates of heaven open, pouring down silvered hours. Let me walk under the spell of a dark moon, in the light of my own divinity. May I live in the clouds and growing corn, and in the rock bed or the rising river. May I fall like rain and rise like sedge. May I soar the empty place of sky like a hawk whose wings tips brush the gold and crimson reaches of dawn. May I gaze on the knot of eternity, wherein the threads of our fates are tied, man to woman, fire to water, earth to sky. May I lie down with magic and hear the secrets of days and weeks in her kiss. May I spend long years talking with the fig trees. May I speak with he who speaks our destinies. May I walk in thunder and reign with the God of change. May I travel the bright paths even into darkness, for I am sharp and shining thing. By the light within me I shall see the burdens and joys of love. I shall be like the shining falcon wandering in and out of heaven, like the white ibis in the river gazing on fishes. I change as the old ones change before me, constantly and with rejoicing. I live not in the memory of my bones, but in the fresh grass of the fields. I am not what I was, nor yet all I will be. I am an old man grown young. To me was given the truth of the ways, the swallows and the fishes. If I please, I walk among the living cities, going along the warm and dusty paths I've known, unseen as the air that rocks between two sisters, visible as light. I am as worthy of love as truth, that I exist in truth myself. My body is but wax and wick for flame. When the candle burns out, the light shines on elsewhere. What matters is the word whispered at birth, the spark flown from infinite fire. I breathe inside, and the bright word, the truth, the circle. I burn like a secret in the heart of the mountain. I am an idea wrapped in flesh that sprang from the belly of sky. I am light from the bright vortex of fire from which even first light came, and that which made the maker of gods and men lights the black world in the blink of an eye. In my joyous and eternal changings, I come to know that eternally unchanges. For in my becoming I change into everything, and what changes not is all already. That fire has made me glorious and given me glad weeping. I, who sprang from the lashes of its eye, am longing to go home, to rest in the fire that gave me birth, to count myself among the absolute that dwells in the numberless one. I know the language of birds, the augury of dawn and the light of day. I know the melody of splendor before the dream of time began. Before my birth, huge gods and strange beasts whispered. It was said I should fly from the eye of sun, even that I should die and my belly swarm with worms, that I should soar like a hawk, the snake writhing in my claws. All I am and shall be were fixed at birth by the cry of birds, and I shall live forever, and I shall live forever. Before the hawk sailed beneath the moon, before magic made the word, before Ibis birthed her orphan son, I flourished in the mirrored sea. I grew strong, then waxed old, bent as the crescent moon, an ancient man full of wise dreaming. I ruled the night with its thousand lights, and brought the stars to rest behind the shadow of hills. As time passed, and I grew from lightness to dark, I learned the power of hidden things. Like a hawk I sailed beyond the known into the realm of what must be imagined. I learned the power and shape of sleep and molded silence into dreams. The dreams I filled with hearts and minds that they might love, and they became men, myself. Who knows how long these changes took, an hour or 1,000 years. I was long in my dreaming beneath the earth. Time had no reach. 2 lions lay at my feet, devouring the children of the past and future. When the dream was done, like a hawk I rose, and 2 clouds closed behind me. Then it was as if I'd never left the sky. Birds sang, lilies opened their spathes. On the air I heard the word and felt the wheel of change. I learned to read the movement of clouds and walk the roads in blessed forgetfulness that all roads might seem traveled fresh. I, who took possession of hidden things, learned the language of hawks. I was given the eyes and the heart of the bird and the power of the cry and claw. In the years that passed, in the wind about my head, I heard the voices of the old ones. The past and future dream us, lie on our bodies like skin, that we might pass the days with grace. To us were given all the ways and the obligation to travel. To us were opened all the roads of heaven, all the tunnels in earth and the channels of the sea. Among the dead and the living, by these same words have we all traveled. Together we walk a single path into the heart of the infinite. Now the treasures of the world lie before me, the jeweled wings of love and the golden bracelets of days. The crown of existence rests on my head, crystal stars in a lapis sky. Tempted neither by terror nor wonder, I take earth's simple offerings. A handful of seeds, the air in my nose, and the rays of light on my belly. In time I'll fly in and out of time. In time I'll come to the house of magic. I shall pass into the unity of fire and know dreams and colors and secrets. For now it is enough to roam the air that separates earth from sky. I do not hurry my destiny. I neither long for history nor forget it. I am the hawk, glorious hawk, soaring hawk beneath the sun. Bands of light wreath my head. I own the property of day. On swift wings I've flown to the edges of the world, cutting a path to the far reaches of heaven. Back I fly and hover over splendid fields. I've grown old and wise as a god. The sky wraps her arms around me, the earth she kisses my feet. The goddesses tear their veils for me, and I walk into the eye of fire. Ah, the things I see when the flames burst forth. I look on the dust of life with eyes of fire. I rise from dust and spin. Life opens its mouth and swallows me. And I live to walk familiar streets, see old friends, tell their children's stories. I speak of the journey through blood into paradise, how the gods of the other world tried to turn me from my path that held my destiny, how I traveled through night in a dim confusion of stars, how desert breasts tore my heart with their claws, how I lived and my spirit grew until I felt no pain even in the teeth of the great devourer, how I stood inside the heart of fire, burning was made new. I am that bright fire. It lives in me. Lift your faces that you might see. I was given the heart of the sky, the soul of a hawk, and the wisdom of stars. I become what I must to understand each season that passes in the heart of a man: jealousy, rage, bitterness, hope, trust, ease. And I know that change is a difficult task, a dying, a dreaming, an awakening. Alone I make my way along the bright paths of valleys, through the cooling shadows to the mountain of regret. In dark caves I hear the howling of dogs or children, while far off the yellow sands blow and young bulls clash horns in distant fields. I listen to the sounds of life's reckoning. Silence, I cry, and the night is still. It's so quiet I can hear the long grasses the cattle have eaten turning into dreams. Then before dawn, before the last star fades and the first swallow cries, I feel light enter my fingers. How even everything that has changed changes. What a long road it seems I've traveled. The beauty and the terror of it. The crying of the gods or children. The yellow flowers claim the last gold light. The names of all the powers seem shouted out by blades of grass, by clouds, by rocks under water, by the darkness in the mouths of caves, by dead men under the burning sand and in the hearts of mountains. Let me hurry them then, as a man hurries home to rest after a long day in the fields. I've gathered and tied my life to my waist like the pelts of magical animals. Nothing common or rare escapes me. I carry the power within. I've fallen face down upon the earth to gain the power of heaven, powers greater than the ceaseless shining of stars, powers as great as the sun at creation. Having lived the life demanded of me, I shall step into eternity. Long and quietly I spoke with my soul of death, of love, of things that mattered. I am clothed in light, loved and touched by light. bound by light to enter light. On my heart I bear the scars to prove I lived and live still, and I live forever. I've been shamed and beaten and have cried out for revenge as I gazed on the empty face of sky. I learned the story of my existence as I lived it, as it was spoken from the mouths of gods. I passed through the terrors of night. Thirsty and tired, I fell by the roadside. I lifted my face to eternity and been blessed by the kiss of morning. Now, like a hawk, I rise into the air, into the heart of the universe. I rest on clouds, hearing joyful things, the songs of sparrows, the buzzing of bees, the laughter and pleas of courtesans, the wind murmuring in carob trees. I am whirring as a hawk. With the eyes of a hawk I see, think his thoughts, and know the joy of his heart. My flesh is vibrant as air, my words sharp and long as a shout. Today all the old men in heaven are happy. They are made strong as bulls in green pastures, ready to run, to snort and bellow, ready to make many children. Today is the last day of the world. The sun will not set, the light never wane. We've reached the knot of eternity. A million years are with us. The breath of life enters, rivers flowing unending. Great is the power of the human heart to love, to change, to make new. The word of light has been spoken and has lived by our hands, in our bodies and in things we made. Truth shall not pass away. As I turn to dust, I turn to light. I have come home to my father, my brothers, my children, my friends. I have come home to myself. Though my house falls to dust and my fields turn to sand, the light of Egypt lives a million years in me. I shall enter the eye of fire forever. I shall gaze into fire and find the comfort of wife, children, home, and cattle. In the dream of an old man, in the eye of eternity, I shall live forever. I'm going to end this here. I hope that you enjoyed this reading.